Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to episode 16 of the Creabea Knitting Podcast. So hello and welcome, my name is Rebecca and I am a knitter based in Edinburgh in Scotland, and I'm coming to you from a very grey Scottish spring morning. This is a podcast or a video blog all about knitting, what I've been knitting on, what I'm currently knitting on, and what I'd like to be casting on in the not too distant future. And usually there's some yarny goodness, and there is a little bit of yarny goodness today. If you're new, hi, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here. And if you're a returning viewer, you are of course very welcome to be coming back. Usually I sit down for like an hour to 90 minutes and chat about all things knitting and what's on my needles. I'm feeling a bit out of practice. I normally film every 2 weeks, but it's been 3 weeks because this time last week I was in very sunny Greece. And so yeah, I'm feeling a little bit out of it. But no doubt once I start talking about the knitting, it'll come back to me. And let's see, I wonder if more time away will mean a longer podcast. I'm not sure. We're gonna just see how it goes. So what do I have today? A couple of finished objects, a lot of whips. I'm really itching to clear my needles right now. I really want to be casting on some new things, and yeah, I'm feeling a bit like twitchy, like I really want to be getting to it. And so yeah, a couple of whips and quite a lot of new yarn. I actually started filming and got about 3 minutes in and my door went because some yarn arrived. And I already had some yarn to show before that. So lots going on. Let's get started. We can start with my first finished object, which is also what I'm wearing. This is I'll try and pop a picture in. I'll take a picture of this full so you can see it. This is pretty much a no frills sweater by Petite knit. If you are a returning viewer, you will know I love this pattern. This is the fourth one that I've made. I just love the fit. I think they fit. Like, I also think they suit my wardrobe really well. I find them very easy to wear. I do have some plans to try knitting some other simple sweaters. I did a few others, but I keep coming back to this one because I just love to knit it and I love the simplicity of it. But I have some more different sweaters planned. But yeah, I really like it. This is slightly different to the others. It is knit at a looser gauge. So normally this pattern calls for 21 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I didn't get that. I've got 19 stitches per 10 centimeters. So really I just fudged it. Like, I cast on and I just kept knitting until it fit, which I think could have gone quite badly, but actually somehow worked out perfectly. In retrospect, I probably should have either done some maths to make sure it fit or found another pattern, but I did neither. So here we are. I went up to a 4.5mm needle. I usually use a 4mm needle, so I did go up a little bit needle size, and it's perfect. It's quite a loose, like it's not a super tight fitting sweater. That's great by me. The arms are a little bit more fitted, which again I like. The raglan is quite deep actually, which doesn't bother me when I'm wearing it, but I see this now, like the raglan probably could be shorter, but again it doesn't bother me. It's got quite a nice wide neckline. I used Drops Alpaca, which is a DK weight yarn, and a strand of Drops Air, which is mohair. No, I keep doing this. Every time I film the podcast and I talk about Drops Kidsilk, I call it Drops Air. It's Drops Kidsilk mohair. Both in like the off-white colourway. I did not intend for these two yarns to be together. Like, I ordered one for one thing. I don't even remember what I ordered the alpaca for. I don't know. I ordered the alpaca for one thing and I ordered the mohair for something else. Maybe I had the alpaca already. Oh, I definitely ordered it. I ordered the alpaca and I ordered the mohair, and they were for different projects. And then I was doing quite a lot of sewing and I was like, oh, this would just look like it's a bit of a strange temperature time. I feel like it's probably too cold to go out without a jacket on, but I didn't really have a sweater that went with a lot of the dresses I was making and the skirts I was making. And so this sweater was made. It was quite feverish, like I was like, I need it now. And it was off the needles pretty quickly. It's a lot of stockinette, which I really love. You can see it's got a real nice halo to it. I will say it turned out warmer than I planned it. So there probably is still a gap in my wardrobe for a lightweight off-white sweater, but we'll come to that because that's on the mind does too. I think alpaca and mohair. Oh wow, I've got the hiccups. I think alpaca and mohair make for a very, very warm sweater. So right now I'm completely fine. Like I'm at home, we have no heating on. It's maybe a little bit warm, but not problematically so. I find it's perfect to go outside in when it's a bit breezy and a bit cold. But as soon as I get warm, this sweater, like I'm like, because it's just too hot. I had hoped to take this to Greece. It wasn't super warm in Greece. It was like 20 to 25 degrees. But in the evenings was cooler, and I thought this would be great to throw over my evening layers. But actually I took a ready to wear sweater because this was just, I wore it twice before we went and I was sweating in Scotland. So I thought it's definitely going to be too warm for Greece. One thing I will say is I don't think that drops alpaca blocks very well. I don't think this is super even. It's not problematic, like there's nothing particularly wrong with it. But I just find it looks a little bit messy, and it doesn't bother me as much in this because it's got the mohair and it's fine. But I made a ranunculus with 2 strands of drops alpaca held double. Maybe it was drops lima held double, which is just their fingering weight equivalent. And I just find the blocking didn't really work. Like it didn't even out my stitches at all. And I'm not a very neat knitter. Like I rely heavily on blocking to make my things look good. And so yeah, I do think that's one thing to bear in mind with the alpaca. I always forget this and I order more, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing. It's just not very neat. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing and my first finished objects. Kind of a no frill sweater by Petite knit, at a looser gauge in drops Kidsilk mohair and drops alpaca. Moving on to my second finished object, and it's not here, and I should have realised this time when I filmed last time that by the time I filmed again I would have already gifted this, which feels like it's a shame because it got such a highlight on the podcast, but I will put in a picture of it finished. This is my gift knit. It was my stepdad's big birthday last week on Tuesday, and I gifted him a sweater. I mentioned it way back last year, like, I don't know, maybe late summer, and said, would you like a sweater for your birthday? And we talked about it and we decided on a colourwork sweater, and other than that I just kind of ran with it. So we didn't have much input, but he said kind of what he would like. In retrospect, I don't know if I'm just feeling, it doesn't fit particularly well. Okay, this is the sweater. Let me talk about it first and then talk about the fit. It is a strange Brew sweater by Tin Can Knits, which is kind of like a build your own adventure style colourwork sweater. It gives you all the stitch counts and all the measurements, and then you can plug in your own colourwork motifs. So I used the Marit, the motifs from the Marit cardigan, which is a pattern by Lina magazine. I knit this up in Woolly Knit. The background colour is their Diggle DK base in the colour Rustic, or Rustic Nep, I think. And then the 2 contrast colours are the British wool, 100% British wool cones, and I held 2 strands double. The brown colour is cinnamon, and the green is called Celtic green. That's the details. It took me about 8 weeks to make. I actually found it really, like, it was a lot of work, but it wasn't challenging, and it completely boosted my colourwork confidence. I really was not, like, my colourwork, I've done a bit of colourwork before. I would never have considered myself to be a particularly proficient colourwork knitter, and I think now I probably would say I'm confident with colourwork. And it wasn't hard. I think it was just like practice. Like there was so much colourwork in it, it was all over colourwork, that I had to be kind of good at it by the end because there was so much of it. So the experience was great. I really enjoyed knitting it. Couple of things. The first thing is the neckline doesn't fit. I put it on and he came downstairs and I was just like, oh. I was this horrible feeling. So I was like, that doesn't fit, like that's not wearable. So I'm a bit annoyed with myself about that. I know what the problem is and I know how to fix it, so that is good. The problem is, well, I think the neckline is too small, so I will definitely cast on fewer stitches for the neckline and then do maybe a round of increase after the neckline. I think the other issue is that I cast on and I started knitting, and after about an inch of colour work decided that my colour work tension was too loose, and so I went down a half needle size for the rest of the sweater, which was fine. However, that means that the needle size that I used for the neckline ribbing was too big for the rest of the sweater. So I think I started at a 4 and I went down to a 4.5, but I think the neckband is done on maybe a 2.25 or 2.5. So there's basically no difference in gauge between the neckline and the body. And I think I need to do the neckline on a 3mm needle to really like cinch that in. So it came down, it wasn't massively dissimilar to this, like it was kind of like this, but I feel like this on a woman, like it looks quite, like it can look quite delicate, but it just looked like very bare and very naked here. So instead of it being like this neckline, I'd like it to be more like this on him. I might also add a bit of elastic into the neckline, and then otherwise I think it fits fine. It's probably a bit, it's not really on the tight side, it actually kind of fits perfectly. I think I would have liked to be able to block an extra like centimetre in, which is ridiculous, right? But it was very well received. I think in retrospect I wish I'd made something else. Now all I can think about is have I made him like a navy blue Gansey. I think it would have been a much more classic, much more wearable piece, but it's fine. So what I need to do is I need to get the sweater again because it's currently with him, but that's fine. And what I'm going to have to do is cut off the neckband, pick up the stitches, knit back up, probably add an extra couple of rows, decrease more drastically, and then re-knit the neckband on a smaller needle. So it's doable, like I know it's doable, but it was such a marathon to get it done that now it's done, I'm just like, I'm done with it. So yeah, but I'll get it done. I think the one good thing is I gifted it in May, so it's not going to really get much wear until the colder months, so at least I've got some time to get it fixed, and it did look good. Like the colours looked really good, and the finished piece looked really good, and the fit otherwise, apart from this, is good. So I just need to, I don't know, sort that out, and it'll be fine. But yeah, it was just a bit disappointing after you put so much work in and you see it and you're like, oh, like it's not quite wearable. But he's a very good sport, and he's like, it's amazing, it's lovely, and I was like, But in my head I'm thinking I need to fix that neckline now. So that was a bit of a learning, but I'm really glad it's done. I'm really glad it's gifted. I think it looks amazing. I think it's a real, like for me it's a real achievement, so I'm really glad it's finished. And I definitely at some point in the future will knit myself a Marit cardigan, and I think I'll follow the pattern. I think I'll do what I did in this and make it DK weight, because I'm not doing fingering weight colour work, not yet anyway. So yeah, I really like the pattern. I thought the colour work, I think I need a bit of a break from that colour work motif, but I will come back to it in the future, because I think it's beautiful. And this range Brew pattern is amazing. I think one thing is what I might do is I might measure the colour. I know that on some sweaters, like when I made my first no frills, I found the necklines to be too wide, so I cast on a smaller number of stitches for my no frills now than them, and then I increase after the neckband. And that's something I've learned from preference. I definitely think I'd use the strange Brew pattern again, and so I'm tempted to measure the neckline and see how, like, is it what it's meant to be, or like if I made a mistake, or is the pattern quite a wide neckline? Because if I can work that out, then I know that I can use the pattern again and confident in future. I'm really croaky today. Use the pattern again in the future with more confidence that it will fit the way it's meant to, well, the way I think it should fit. So there we go, that is my gift knit. I don't want to be down about it, like I'm not sad about it. Well, I am a little bit sad about it, but I'm not like broken up about it, right? Like it's not a disaster. I'm just a bit like, oh, I wish it had just fit first one, because now even if I fix it, like I don't know if you're gonna get over that mental thing of like it doesn't fit. We'll see. Anyway, it's finished. So yeah, let me move on to my whips. I have, oh no, I've got half object. Let me talk about that first. It's a sock, It's not very exciting. And I say finished, but I've got a very unwoven an end here, so maybe it's not that finished. And I don't have a blocker to show you, so I'm a terrible podcaster really. This is my finished sock. So cute. This is the Easter colourway, the mini egg colourway from Botanical Yarns on Instagram. I think that's just the business name. They're also Botanical Yarns on Instagram. I saw other people share this yarn and I was like, oh, I want a sock yarn for Easter. So I got it. These are really cute. They knit up really nice. It's got this beautiful little speckles. I think it's a very classic hand-dyed yarn colour. I did a vanilla sock with an afterthought heel. I really just don't like knitting heel flaps and gussets, so I just knit an afterthought heel whenever I can. I think what I'm going to do is I'll knit the second one. It's not on my needles right now. I cleared my needles because I was thinking about taking socks to Greece and didn't take them. But I think these will be a gift pair. Like, I don't dislike them. I'm not crazy about them. And I think it would be handy to have them and maybe gift them around Christmas time. So I'll just keep a hold of them and put them somewhere safe, and I'll almost definitely forget about them, but that's okay. And yeah, I think my gauge might be a bit tighter on these than normal actually. I should probably measure them because it does look a lot, the leg looks to me a lot smaller than what my usual socks are, and I cast on my normal number of stitches. So maybe I'll give it to somebody with narrow feet. So yeah, I've got quite a lot left. What I might do as well is make the second one, and then I might make myself a pair. I quite like shorty socks, like real ankle socks. And so what I might do is make myself a pair of shorties with the leftovers and like contrast heels and toes, because then I still get to enjoy the yarn. But I don't really need any more of this size right now, and gift knitting is always good. So yeah, I don't know when I'll cast this on, because my intention is to make my dad a pair of socks for Father's Day, which is on June 19th. So I still have some time, but I don't think, like, given my current mojo, or my sock mojo, I don't know if I'll have time to cast on a second one and cast it off and cast on another pair of socks for my dad. So what I think I might do is leave this off the needles for now, and then cast on the gift pair and finish them, and then come back and finish the second one. So yes, a little half object. And this, yeah, I've got whips everywhere right now. Like, I have so many projects on the go. So before I get to whips, I had this great intention. I had this great plan. I think planning as knitters is like a hobby. Maybe it's a crafters in general thing, but as a knitter, like, I love to make plans. I love to like make little goals and be like, oh, what about this? What about this? It's ridiculous. So let me think. What I tried when I was in Greece, what I planned to do was there's a lot I want to cast on right now. I've got some swatches for like a new like made up thing I'd like to do, and I'd like to try knitting a polo, and I've got some yarn that I want to cast on pretty quickly into, like, I want to be able to wear it pretty soon, so I want to cast that on pretty fast. But I've currently got, well, I currently have 1, 2, 3, 5 active whips and 3 like whips that I've parked. And so I came back from Greece and I was like, whilst I was there, my intention was I was going to come back and I was going to spend like the rest of the month finishing all my whips. So including the ones that are parked and then the ones that I have on my needles now, and I was like, I'm just going to get them done and then I can knit on new things. But then I realised, I was like, I don't want to. Still want to, like, I don't really want to be casting them on right now. A lot of them, like, they're all cabled. One is a sweater and 2 of them are cardigans, and I just don't really want woolly cardigans right now. Like, I don't know, like, they're just not what I want to be wearing or what I'll be working on. So what I've decided is they're just going to stay parked, and that's okay, and I will try to pick them up as and when I can, but if I don't, it's not a disaster. What I will try and do is I had 2 sweaters on my needles which are almost done, and my plan was like get through them, in fact just get through what's on your needles now and get back to like my comfortable number, which is 4. So I'll have 4 projects, 2 that are like easier projects and 2 which are more complicated projects. And yeah, if I currently have 5, I'm gonna get 2 off the needles, which is I can cast on 1, and then when I finish the next one I can cast on something else. I thought I might have another finished object today, but it's actually not finished yet. So let me jump in there. I had a meeting this morning that was going to take like 90 minutes, and I thought that is when I'll get this sweater finished, but the meeting got cancelled, so it's not finished yet. I will talk about my bag first though, because it was gifted to me. This is my bag. So if you've been around for any length of time, you'll know, I'm just pulling them because they're to hand, that I really enjoy bags from Tea Cake Make, which is a UK based Etsy shop. This is the first one I bought, and this one I think remains my favourite. And then this was the second one in this colour, which is currently empty because I moved the WIP that was in it to being like properly off the shelves. So yeah, I use them a lot, and Nicola, who runs Tea Cake Make, messaged me and said that she was making some bigger bag sizes and could she send me one to try out. And I said yes, of course. And then she sent me and was like, which one of these would you like? And I thought, oh, this fabric I've seen for a little while. Sorry, I'm scratching my eye. I've seen this fabric in the other bags for a while, and it was kind of on my list, but I was like, oh, you don't need another bag. So when she offered, I was very grateful and said yes. So this is it. What I will say is, like, it's a pretty big, it's a huge bag. It's a sweater size bag. There's a lot, there's a whole sweater and a whole DK weight sweater and 2 skeins of yarn in here, and there's still plenty of room. I don't know how she does it, because also there's a whole sweater in this. They're like surprisingly roomy. I think it's the boxy base just fits a lot in. This one also has these little outside pockets, which I'm not really using for anything, but I think they're handy. And there's like long ones, I guess, if you were maybe like crocheting or if you want to put your needles through, they'd be really handy. But yeah, she sent it to me and I'm very happy she did, and they're lovely. And I'll include the Etsy shop below. There's no affiliation link or anything, it's just she sent me this one and I loved it. I wanted to mention it. This one has a very similar, throw yarn everywhere. This is the inside of this one, which is pretty similar to the inside of this one. So yeah, that's the bag. Now the project. Like I say, I really thought I'd finish this, and I'm actually pretty close. Like I'm maybe 20 rows and then a cuff away, and it's 20 rows in fisherman's rib. So it is the first sweater by Lizzie of Hive Knits, and this has been on my needles for so long. And it's almost done. Once I finished the body, I really like lost some mojo on it, and then I came back and finished the sleeve, and I was excited to buy it, and then it took me a while to pick up the second sleeve, but I started it this week and I'm determined it is getting finished probably today, maybe while I'm editing. It's a beautiful pattern, it's been everywhere, so I'm sure everyone's seen it before, but if you've not, it's called The First Sweater. It is a top-down raglan sweater, and the exciting thing are these big amazing sleeves. This yarn always blows out, so I'll pop a picture on the screen of what it looks like when I've taken a proper picture, but it's not in the direct daylight, because yeah, it looks here just like a nice petrol blue. It's such a rich blue, so I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like. It's got a folded neckband, and then yeah, this like nice like double raglan stitch, and then these big puffy sleeves. Finished one, and I'm so close to finishing the second one. You knit the sleeves quite short, because half fisherman's rib is a really stretchy, it's kind of like brioche, it's a real squishy, really stretchy fabric, and so you knit them to a certain length. I can't remember what length, but you knit them to quite a relatively short length, and then you block them quite aggressively, and then there's some spring back, but they still will fit from there. So the sleeves aren't super long. So yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10. I don't know how many we would have done. I thought I only had 10 left, but maybe I have 20 left. Oh, I've got 20 left, I'll be so upset. No, I've got about 12 rows left. Well, 12 full, like double rows, so 24 rows left of the sleeve. Each singular like V is 2 rows. And then I'll be done. And then I can wear this. I think it'll go, I finished a skirt recently and I think it'll go really nicely with that. So yeah, hopefully get this done and blocking. Maybe my social life is, I mean, I have stuff through the week, but I don't always have loads planned. But Monday is knit night. So maybe if I finish it today and get it blocked over the weekend, I can wear it on Monday to knit night. That would be exciting. What yarn am I using? I thought I dropped a skein of this somewhere closer to me, but I can't find it. So, woolly knit British wool cone in the colourway Mallard. I'm gonna have quite a lot of this left. I think in general, I've got quite a lot of like bits of woolly knit left, like not quite scraps, but maybe 100 grams. And I just have what to do with it. Could make a blanket. I was kind of tempted by Inga from Knitting Traditions is making a big blanket with squares of Rauma, I think. And so I thought about just making little squares of it. But I also saw a shawl the other day. I'm not really a shawl person, but I thought it could be quite fun. I don't know. But I've got lots of this left, basically, in lots of different colours, which is not a bad thing. So I'm holding one strand of woolly knit British wool cones, which I wound up into cakes in the colourway Mallard, and one strand of Filcolana Tilia, which is my favourite mohair, in the colourway Midnight, I think it's called. And these together just made a beautiful fabric. And it's so soft and squishy, and I really just want it finished, and I want to be able to wear it. I think this will be okay for now. Like, I think similar to this, it's probably got a few weeks left of it. Oh, my hair's going a bit mad. Ish. It's probably got a few weeks left of wearing it before it gets too warm. But I think what's really nice about this, like the dual tone, is that this will look really nice, I think, in autumn and winter as well, because of like the richness of it. So yes, that is my first pile of yarn, my first work in progress. That's what I was going to say. I didn't get gauge with this pattern. The pattern is 24 stitches over 10 centimetres, and I didn't get gauge. I got 22 stitches. I'm quite a loose knitter, and I just had no desire to go down to like a, I think I'm knitting on a 3.25, and I got 2.25. I'm knitting on a 3.25mm needle, and I got 22 stitches, and I had no desire to go any smaller. I think I would have had to go down to like a 2.75, which meant I had to knit the ribbing on like a 2mm needle, and I just wasn't doing it. No thank you, I'm a lazy knitter. So I just picked a size small, 2 sizes smaller. I think I knit the size 4, which gave me the same measurements as a size 6 at the correct gauge, and it's all absolutely fine. I know that sometimes you have to be careful with doing that, and it can like affect the arm side or like the arm hole, but I'm not having any issues. So yeah, the next one's also close-ish to being done. Another one that I'd like to get off my needles this weekend. I'm itching to cast on something new, and I need to get these 2 off my needles, and that'll get me down to 3, and then I can put a new one in. So this is my Sunday sweater by Petite Knit. So soft. It is incredibly soft. Oh, there we go. So it looks like a bit of ragtag messy at the minute, but it's actually very, very soft and cozy. So it is a top down circular yoke pattern, and it has this like sunburst knit purl pattern where you increase knits and purls as you go. It's knit at quite a loose gauge. I'm using 7mm needles. So in my head I was like, this will knit up in like 2 days. No, of course it didn't. But I'm like, 7mm needles, that won't take very long. I mean, it doesn't, but it still is a whole sweater to knit. So I have almost, I'm not following the pattern for the sleeves. The sleeves in the pattern, I dropped a stitch. In the pattern, you increase the sleeves to get like a balloon shaped sleeve, and I just didn't want that. Like, I want a balloon, but I want it just to be straight and then cinched, rather than a very big bishop sleeve. So yeah, I'm just gonna knit until it's the right length, which I think is about 5 more rows, I think. And then I will cinch and do the cuff. I tried this on yesterday. So last night, it's not Friday, it's Friday now. So last night, I've not really done much knitting this week. I think I lost a little bit of mojo on holiday. But I wasn't that excited about a lot of things, and I was like, And then I came back and I was doing some swatching, and I'm now very motivated to cast on a new project. But I told myself to finish these first. So last night I had a coffee at 8 PM, which is like as a working adult, a dangerous thing to do, because, you know, will you be up till 4 in the morning? Who knows? Of course I wasn't. I stayed up till like midnight. I mean, it's still an hour longer than my normal bedtime, but I was like, I'm going to stay up till 2 a.m. I'm going to finish all my whips, these 2 whips, or I'm going to finish that one and finish the sleeve and cast on the second sleeve, and be so productive. No, I fell asleep at 11:30 despite my 8 p.m. coffee. So yeah, my plan was to have this finished, or at least the sleeve finished, but that did not happen. What I was, all that to say, I was trying this on last night. It is so soft, and I had to stop myself because I've had this Start Yarn and Stash for maybe a year and a half, and I was so sick of it. Like, I just wanted it knit up. I was like, get this out of my stash, I'm done with it. I said to Cathy, I was like, oh, it's really soft. If you should order some more of this. And then I was like, stop, Rebecca. Like, you've been trying to get rid of this yarn. You're not bringing more of it into this house. But I did actually try. So what am I using? This is the yarn in question. It's Drops Melody, which is actually, it's quite a good base. Like, it's an interesting base. Let me look it up. Not drips, drops. This is what it looks like. It is 71% alpaca and 25% wool, and then there's a 4% polyamide, which I presume is the core. It's kind of it's not a blown yarn, it's definitely plied. Like, I can see there are 2 plies in here. It's incredibly fluffy. It is 125 meters. Where's that listing? 125 meters per 100 grams. 140 meters per 50 grams. Sorry. What did I just say? Something completely wrong. 140 meters per 50 grams. It's not great to work with, is the only thing. If you drop any stitches, or like if you're doing any form of knitting pattern, if you're like, I don't know, you couldn't do lace, I think you'd struggle with cables in this. So I was looking for a very simple top down, very little picking up of stitches for this, and this has been perfect. I'm holding it together with a strand of Drops Flora, which is a very workhorse yarn. I think it's 65% wool, 25% alpaca, and it's 4 ply. They're a pretty good match. The fabric it's making is lovely. It looks quite, oh, of course, it's going through my nose. It looks quite like a dense fabric, but if I hold it up, you can really, if I hold it in the light, you can see there's a lot of light coming through that. There we go. There's a lot of light coming through. So I think it might actually be like quite a breezy sweater. Like I said, it is incredibly soft. There is no itch factor, like absolutely none. Which is now making me want to work with this yarn more, which is not good because I've had it in stash for so long. I keep seeing, whenever I knit a project, I follow the hashtag for that project on Instagram, which I find really handy because it means that you see other people's versions, or like if I'm thinking of casting something on, I'll follow the hashtag. And I'm following the hashtag for this, and I keep seeing people in like a really like beautiful creamy beige colour one. I want it. So we'll finish. This might be it might never happen. It might happen ages away from now, but yeah, I want it. So yeah, I've got a little bit to go in the sleeve and then the second sleeve to go, and then I'm done. I'm gonna have a little bit of this yarn left. I think I'm gonna have maybe 2 skeins of each. No, maybe not 2 skeins of this. Maybe 1 skein of Flora and two or 3 skeins of Melody. So I have to find something else to do with it. I think it would make a good gift, like a hat maybe. I don't think it could be baby knits, it's too fluffy. So maybe a hat for somebody for Christmas. But yeah, if you're looking for something I think it's a 14 stitch gauge. It's a tricky gauge. It's like 14 stitches per 10 centimeters. And I feel like there are a lot of sweaters out there at that gauge. And for me, that is like my pleasantly chunky knit. Like, I'm not going any bigger than 14 centimeters because I won't wear it. Sorry, 14 stitches per 10 centimeters. But 14 I like. I've got a few things at that gauge and I like it, and it doesn't feel too chunky. And so if you're looking to knit something at that gauge, I would recommend this. I think it's often advertised online as a chunky weight, which I think is a bit misleading, because by itself, like, it's not really, like, it's not much more. Like, you can see there, that's a 4 ply, and that is it. Like, it's not a chunky, but it makes it hard to knit with. So yeah, I'm really excited to have this finished. I'm very much looking forward to wearing this. I think what will be tricky, maybe not tricky, but I've mentioned this before, I have I work from home, and so I have like work from home sweaters, which are the ones which by far like, get worn the most, but also are the ones which they almost, I say this, they kind of feel like they get relegated, like they feel like they're not as, my fancy ones, like this one is not a work from home sweater, and I wear it when I'm going somewhere nice, and I've got a few sweaters like that, and they get much less wear. Like I wear them once a month because I don't go anywhere. Sometimes more, sometimes twice a month, but I don't wear them as much. Whereas my work from home sweaters, I will wear every single day, and so I'm torn with this one because I do think it's quite like I think it'll look really nice, but it's gonna be so cozy. Should I just wear it from work from home? I don't know. So yeah, this is it. It looks really good there actually. I'm looking forward to it be finished. And I'm actually intrigued about blocking. I am, like I said, a religious blocker because it evens out my stitches a lot, but I'm not sure how this will block. I did not make a swatch because I was just like, ugh, let's see what happens with this yarn. I swatched with it before because I was going to make a cardigan number 5 by my favourite things knitwear, and so that's the same gauge. So I swatched for it for that. I didn't wash the swatch, and I don't have it anymore. I do have it. I actually think maybe I have it. I have a swatch pinned on my chalkboard, on my pin board in this yarn. Maybe I should wash it and see what happens. I can't remember. Anyway, that's my second whip. Hopefully, again, also done this weekend. The sleeve is, like I say, like it flies off. It's 7mm needles. It doesn't take very long. So my priority, I think what I will do, finish filing, have some lunch, and then I will edit the video, and then I will, today, I'm trying to decide, I have, the 50th was on Tuesday, and tomorrow it's like a family party, and I have things to wear, but I saw somebody post on Instagram with an outfit, and I have the fabric, and now I want to make that outfit. No, I'm not going to do it. I might do a sewing day on Sunday. We have, we're getting some work done because, so we are renters in our flat, but we noticed, it took a while to notice because it was underneath my desk in my office, but the wall of the office that backs onto the bathroom had a leak behind it, and so the wall is damaged and damp and there's mould in this one patch, and it's the exact patch where my desk is. So I've taken my desk out and I'm working in the kitchen, but the desk is also where my sewing machines are, so I've not had any sewing time, which is fine. Like I don't need to be sewing, but it's a bit annoying because if I want to like whip up a dress, like today I had to lug them all through and plug them at the kitchen table, and then I'm in everyone's way, well everyone's way, me and my boyfriend's way, but like yeah, if I make a mess in the office kitchen and like through there, like if I went sewing and did it tonight and set it up tonight, I can leave it set up the whole weekend. And even when I finish, I just need to put them on the floor and I can still work at the desk. But if in the kitchen, I can't do that. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have a sewing day on Sunday. We'll see. I got a lot of messages. Sorry, I'm completely off track here, but I got a lot of people messaging about showing some of my sewing. And what I thought I would try and do, I think the tricky thing is when I take pictures and things of my knitwear, a lot of the time it's on my floor, it's like a flat lay. I can be like with my hair like a knot on my head wearing pyjamas and still taking nice pictures of my knitwear. But I need like a proper setup, like to do outfits of my clothing, and I need to do something about setting up some kind of backdrop because all of our walls in this house are coloured. I don't have like a plain wall, so my goal is at some point in the next few weeks to set that up, take some pictures or some videos, and then I can talk about it in like a segment at the end of one of my knitting podcasts. I can put like 20 minutes about sewing, and then if anyone wants to watch it, they can not watch it. It will not be a regular thing. Maybe like, I don't know, once a quarter, or to be like, this is what I've made for summer, this is what I made for spring. We'll see. It's coming, but no promises when. Okay, my third whip, and then I got 2 new whips. My third whip is my Cathy Cardi. So I am dabbling in designing. One of my goals this year was to write up a pattern and to sort of see the process through. I will say it feels like a bit of a floodgate have opened. Like once you start thinking about it, it feels like like the world is your oyster. Like I see things or I think about things and I'm like, oh, I could knit that. Did I have a pattern? No, I just knit it up. So I will say, as much as I've got this on and this is going to be knit up, I have a second. I started swatching for a new design anyway. I've been quite vocal about being very size inclusive and supporting designers who are size inclusive, and so I think it's just important to understand that. I think it is good to understand the process that goes behind designing a size inclusive garment, and the challenges that can come from like grading and like all that. I also think it's just going to make me a better knitter. And yeah, so my first, it's going to be so hard to show. My first pattern is a pattern called the Cathy Cardi. Cathy is my grandmother. She's one of my grandmothers. She was a prolific crafter, and unfortunately didn't stay on earth long enough to see me become a prolific crafter as well. But it felt only right to name this after her. This is a cardigan pattern, and I just don't know how I'm going to show you this. Let me hold it up to show you the fabric first, and then see where I get to. So, oh wait, of course I put all the stitches in front of it. There we go. This is the pattern. It's a lace and cable pattern. It's not blocked, so it's not like when it blocks it'll really bloom. These lace eyelets, there's some lace eyelets in here and they'll really open up a lot more with blocking. So it's almost like a rib detail with a line of cables and a line of lace. And I'm knitting it on 3.5mm needles. It's a 24 stitch gauge. And I'm using these two yarns, which are beautiful. This is Filcolana Arwetta, which is their sock yarn. It's 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. Quite an itch. And this is my favourite mohair, Filcolana Tilia, 75-25, I believe. Actually, I don't know. I've got all my skein here. 70-30, so 70% mohair, 30% silk. I love, oh, I just dropped it. I bought, I wasn't crazy about using Arwetta, the sock yarn, like the superwash sock yarn. I wasn't crazy about this, but the colour was like perfect and I wanted this colour, so I ran with it. It's a cardigan design. It's gonna be a drop shoulder cardigan with like a high neck and like a button band here. It's kind of a very, quite delicate, quite feminine, something that like you could wear with like, you know when people say like wear jeans are a nice top, like this is the nice top. I think it would look really nice with a pair of high-waisted jeans. I think it'll look really nice paired with skirts and dresses. Wow, my brain just completely stopped working there. So where am I at? I have done the body. So this is the bit, it's cropped. I mean, it will block out, but it is a bit more of a crop length. So this is what happens under the body. And then I knit the front and these two panels and the back panel separately. I did this because I didn't want to tackle short rows in my first pattern. The next one is going to have short rows in it, so I'll have to come to terms with that eventually. But I decided not to tackle short rows, which I'm fine with. But it did mean I have to work out, like, to make it fit in a way, and so it's not quite back and forth, but it's not a pieced sweater, but like breaking it down and doing this bit flat. And the drop shoulder means I can add more fabric to the back without having to incorporate short rows. So I've done a good bit of the front panel. So this will be here. I've got a little bit more to go, but this goes under the arm and this goes to the neck. This is the first time I've held this up to myself actually. It looks really good. Oh, I can give her a mess. So it'll have a neckband that comes down here and comes down the front, and I think maybe a folded button band, we're not decided yet. And then yeah, this kind of will drop down. It won't be like a super deep drop shoulder, but it'll start like here, and then it'll have the nice sleeves. should not have wrapped myself up in yarn, that was a silly idea. So yeah, that's where it's at. I'm really enjoying this. Because you have to stop and work things out, before we went on holiday, I was at the part where I knew I'd knitted enough of the body, but I had to stop and work out my numbers for splitting for sleeves, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do it, so I just didn't do it before we went on holiday. And then of course I came back and had to do it, which is fine, like it's not that big a deal, I was being dramatic. So that's now done, which is great. And I now have all my numbers for these, so I don't have very much to go on this. I think another less than 10 centimeters. Then I pop out the scrap yarn, and then I'll do the back panel, which is currently on scrap. So all stitches are on hold. And then I'll do the front panel. I would like to get this done. I'd like to get this done and written up by the end of June, which is fine. I think I probably could start working on it now. I've had a couple busy work. Well, I've had this week being so busy with work. And I really just need to what I think I need to do is take myself off to a cafe and sit with a coffee and try and do the grading for this, which I think is a very daunting task. And I think I'm just putting it off because it's in my brain. It's like, oh, this is a scary thing to do. I think it'll be fine. I just need to sit down and work it all out. And I think once that's done, because at this point I know my splits for the front and back, and I know I can at least get started, right? I can start on that. The other thing I need to do is actually start writing out the instructions. Right now I've made a note of everything very clearly on my, oh sorry, I keep kicking the iPad. I've made very clear notes of what I've done, but I need to obviously write that up in a coherent way, and this pattern will be charted because of the cable and lace design, so I need to make some charts. So those are the things that are just there in my head, and all I want to do is knit. But I know that's it's not the easy part, but I know that the hard part is going to be the grading and the writing. So I need to get a move on with that. I was thinking if I can get it written by June, written up by the end of June, then I can get it out to a tech editor, and then hopefully at some point in July do a test call so that this could go out sometime in September. I think it would need a 2-month test window, 6 weeks to 2 months. So say that went out in mid-July. This is insane, right? This is crazy that there's such a lead time on patterns. If this goes out now, I'm thinking an awesome pattern. Again, something I'm learning from the process. I have to knit it up and write it up. I have to get it out to test knitters. I could probably get it to test knitters when I'm still knitting the second sleeve. So that's fine. That could be mid-July. Say it's, mid-June. Say it's ready for testing at the start of July, and I do 2 month test. That means that it's finished at the end of August, and then there's still the final round of edits, and then it can be released. So you're talking minimum 3 months ahead. I just want to knit what I want to wear now. So yeah, which is just interesting. I don't know if that's, I'm sure people are sitting watching me yeah, of course that's how it works, but it's something I'm learning on the way. I mentioned before, I don't have any intention of becoming a full-time designer. I have a lot of career goals, and so I'm very determined. Right now, I'm very eager to stay doing what I do in my day job. It was interesting though, because when we had our holiday, we're talking a lot about big future plans, and I think at some point we'll do some freelance, freelancing will suit the lifestyle we're going to look for, and it's not going to be a long-term thing, but more if we take some time off, how can we ensure that we're not just saving up to break, to go back with no savings to work again? Does that make sense? How can we make sure that there's financial sustainability if we decide to take a break and do things like some traveling or whatever, and not be in full-time 9-to-5 jobs? And so my partner is a software developer, so it made a lot of sense. He can quite readily pick up software jobs. I also work in tech, but there's not so much freelancing in the world that in the side that I do. And so I think there are some things I can go into, I could go down more of a design route, a UX design route, and train up there to be able to do some freelance work. Or knitting could be designing could be the other way of doing it. Where I've got this skill set of designing patterns and maybe grading patterns where I could put that to use if I was not working full time. I don't know. It's all very like big picture stuff. But it's just something I started thinking about, and if I think about whether I would rather become a fully trained UX designer or a knitting designer, I think I'd rather be a knitwear designer. And so at least like I'm knocking this about a little bit. Sorry, I'm just getting comfy. Yeah, it's just something to think about. And I think I'll just try knitting up a couple of patterns and see how I feel and how I find the grading and the testing process, and maybe it's way too stressful. And I think it's almost definitely not going to be worth the effort, because I know for a fact that pattern releasing does not bring, like, the amount of hours that go into it are not replenished usually for most people, but we'll see. All that to say, we'll see. And I'll just keep posting about, like, sharing updates. I think by the next time I will have the second design on my needles, which will be exciting. But the yarn just arrived for it, and I don't think I like the yarn. So we'll see. Okay, 2 new whips. So, I thought I'd do this actually. Like I say, I got 2 new works in progress on my needles, and I split them into 2 bags. But what I thought I would do is show you what I took on holiday. I'll show you my whips first, and then I'll talk about how I packed these. So I had them in 2 bags. I had them in 1 bag, and they're now in 2. The first one is a camisole. I will say, this always happens. I get like 3 hiccups in a row when I'm podcasting, never any other time. Okay, so this is my first one. It's going to be so hard to show, I'm sorry. It's not on a very big needle, and it's not joined in anything, so apologies, that's all I can say. I'll try to hold it up in a semi... Sorry. Okay, so this is a camisole, or this will be a camisole. This is the Allure Cami by Kadri. And it is a very simple pattern. Hers is designed in a boucle yarn. It's a real like fuzzy camisole, and I've done mine in silk, so it's going to be very different to the test or the sample. But I figured as long as the gauge is right, like, it's fine, right? I was pleasantly surprised because this has quite a wide size range, and it also has, what I'm very impressed with, is a very like tailored... Sorry, I've got random strands everywhere that I'm trying to sort out, and it's not really working. What have I done? There we go. There's like, so I think I'm knitting like large 2, so there are like 8 sizes before mine, and I think more like there are another 6 or 7 sizes above mine. And there's very small increments between the sizes. It's 24 stitch gauge, maybe 26 stitch gauge. I'm knitting on 2.75 mil needles, and this is what I have so far. So the way you do this is you knit each of these cups. Like you knit this cup, and then you knit 4 of them, and then you join them in the round, and you add a couple of extra stitches for under the arms, and then you knit straight down. Super simple, nothing complicated about it. And then you use a provisional cast on, which is what these are. And then you pick up, there are 4 stitches on either side, 4 stitches on either side in provisional cast on, and you pick up from here, and you do an I-cord, and then you graft it like Kitchener stitch at the other side. So yeah, I'm using the silk. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to pick this up with my foot. It's not going to work very well. It worked. I'm using the 100% silk, 100% pure silk. Don't know what it's called. The silk by Knitting for Olive, and I'm knitting up in the dusty artichoke colour. This is what I have left of my first ball, and this is my second ball. This is like £9.50 a ball, and it's 100% silk. And so I think if you can finish a 100% silk camisole for less than £20, like, I think that's a real, very economical. What I need to do, so what my plan is this feels like it was quite a lot of knitting. It's fingering weight, right? So it is quite a lot. it's not had a huge amount since we got back from Greece, like maybe a couple of rounds. It packs up really small, so it's a very good like travel project because it's currently just in this tiny little sock pouch. I mean, it doesn't look so tiny, but it's pretty small. So my plan is to finish knitting this little nugget. Oh, I dropped it again. No, I'm not going to pick it up. It's down there. It's down there now. I'm going to finish knitting that little nugget, and then I'm going to do the I-cord straps in the second ball, because I definitely am like a little bit short on yarn. I've got 500 meters. Maybe not even that. Yeah, I think it's 250 meters per skein of this. So I don't have a load of it, but I'm hoping, yeah, I'm going to do the I-cord, and then like I'd much rather, I wear quite a lot of things that are high-waisted, so it's not a big deal to me if it's cropped, as long as it's not like, yeah, as long as it's like at least to the waist, I think I can probably still get quite a lot of wear out of it. So I will finish knitting this, do the I-cord straps in this, the second ball, and then just knit until the end of the pattern. This has been really nice to knit with. I wasn't really sure what to expect, if I'm being honest. I've never knit with the Pure Silk before. It kind of feels like a soft cotton. It doesn't feel like, I mean, it's quite like a rough, it's not a very shiny silk, right? It's quite a rough silk. But it's not hard on my hands at all. It's not quite, it's definitely different from knitting with wool, but it feels great. And I would definitely say this is a great project for traveling, because socks are fine, like socks are good. But what I really liked about this is that I took 100 grams of yarn, and there was something interesting. I also found that each of the cups, I knew like I could do the provisional cast on. Say we were going out for the day in Athens, I could make sure like before we left that I had the provisional cast on the first like few rows done, and I knew how many stitches I had to get up to, like because you increase, and I knew that final number, and then all I had to take was like a tiny little nugget and one little cup out for the day, and I had some knitting. If we stopped at a cafe, or if we were in the museum, or had to wait for, I don't know, or on the ferry, it was very, very transportable. So we were going on holiday again at the end of the month to Italy, and I will definitely, my plan is definitely to finish this and hopefully cast on another camisole by then. I will see if it'll be this one, because I think it'll depend on the fit. I probably should, and I think I will definitely, once I finish this ball, to do the I-cord, I'll take it off the cord and put it onto scrap yarn or barber cords to try this on and see how it fits, because I have no idea. Like, it's so tiny right now, I can't tell if it's going to fit me very well. I can't tell. So yeah, we'll see. I did a tiny gauge swatch, like it can't really be counted as a gauge swatch. I did a thing that you kind of call a gauge swatch. Worst case, it doesn't fit. I could definitely gift it. I have 3 younger sisters and a mum who would all like this, I think. So it doesn't fit me, it's not a disaster. But I hope it does, because I think it'd be very wearable, and I love this colour. That's my first one. It's in a bag which I got from Etsy. I actually really like this bag. I mentioned before it took so long to arrive, like 6 weeks, and it wasn't like made to order. It just took 6 weeks to arrive. And then it showed up and I was like, what is this? I completely forgot I ordered it. But it's got my initial and a little Liberty print, and I like this a lot. Okay, my final whip. Goodness, we're an hour and I still have a whip and acquisitions to do. So it's going to be a little long one, I think. My second project I took was a sweater. So this is the Daily Pullover by Purl Soho. And I knit quite a lot on this and I got nothing done. So I took, these are, okay wait, let me do the pattern first and then I'll talk about the experience of knitting it. So the pattern is the Daily Pullover by Purl Soho. I'll put a picture up here. It is a fingering weight v-neck sweater, which I think does not look great in the pictures. Like the picture of the woman wearing it I think looks beautiful, but there's some pictures of it like flat lying down and I'm not sold on it. I was like, it's a weird neckline, I don't like it. And then I was watching a friend to knit with, Leslie Friend, and she had this on and I thought it looked amazing and she completely sold me on it. So Thanks, Leslie. I don't think you watched this, but thank you anyway. It's a v-neck raglan pullover, and I think the raglan is quite deep, but depending on how tightly you bind off the stitches, depends on how deep you want the V to be, which I quite like. I'm knitting this in Kinross 4-ply, which is a yarn I picked up at the Perth Festival. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't Perth Festival of Yarn, it was the Scottish Wool Producers Showcase. I made a real mess of this, like it's all coming undone. This is the colourway Porridge. I really like that actually. Like I like that it's called porridge and it's not called oatmeal, because everything's called oatmeal. And porridge is just Scottish oatmeal. So I like that a lot. I thought it was very cool. It's actually showing up very, I mean it is, it's pretty similar to what I'm wearing. This is slightly brighter and this is slightly warmer. But otherwise it's the same. But that's fine, because like I said, this is a bit too heavy. So having a v-neck fingering weight option is gonna solve all my problems. I first came across this yarn at Beautiful Knitters, which is a yarn shop in London. And they had swatches and it was so soft. Like I could not believe that the yarn they showed me before was the same as the yarn that I knit up. It went so fluffy and so soft. So I bought 2 skeins then, which I still have, I've never knit up. But I knew that when I wanted to make, when I was going to this Perth Scottish Wool Producers Showcase that's run by Perth Festival of Yarn, the tickets of which go on sale soon, sometime in July. Anyway, when I knew that when I knew that the people that make Kinross 4-ply Wee County yarns, that's who it is, I think. When I knew they were coming, I knew this is what I was going to get. So each skein is 50 grams, and I can't remember how much it is. I think maybe 200 meters. I think it's a pretty bang on 4-ply. So I bought 5 of those, and I took with me 3 to Greece, and I knit this much of one, and I knit on this quite a lot. So yeah, I took way too much knitting. I took enough knitting for double the amount of time, easily. So yeah, I've knit up this much so far, and this is what I have, which is, again, it's going to be really hard to show. This is what I have. So I have like the back part, I've done the short rows, and what you do is you basically knit back and forward here, whilst increasing in the raglan, and then you split for sleeves, and then you still continue the back and forward, and then under the v-neck, I guess the v-neck is quite deep, because the v-neck is lower than the arm split, and then you join in the round, and then you go. So I've done, there's like a stitch, there's like a pattern, I'm counting my repeats. So I've done, I'm on my 8th repeat, and I've got through 9. So, and then I split for sleeves, which feels like this, and then split for sleeves pretty soon, feels a bit unreasonable. Well, maybe, I think there's maybe another 20 rows, and then I split for sleeves. I guess that makes sense. I don't really know. Yeah, sorry, this is really bad. I'm not really showing anything useful here. There's a little bit of rowing out, but I find I can block that out quite quickly. Yeah, I'm not particularly good. I don't purl very well flat, so there's quite a lot of rowing out. It looks very stripy. That's my rowing out. Yeah. There's a lot of rowing out, oh my goodness. But I block that. Like, I've never had issues with it before in a finished object. This has taken a bit of a back seat just because I'm trying to power through everything else, but I guess I'll get to a stage where this will be like my primary project. I think, like I said, we're going away at the end of the month again to Italy. This might just come with me then, because it packs up so small, and given that I used this much in a week, like less than this in a week, I think I could just take one more and I'd be fine. I really enjoyed knitting it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I really liked it. And yeah, there's no reason, like, there's nothing much to say about it so far because I'm not very far in, but I'm enjoying it, and it's good fun. Yeah, and I've not touched it since I got back, so it's a bit messy. What I thought I would do is do a quick run through of what I took with me on the holiday. I've currently got this in this, so I've got this in this bag, which is my knitter bag, because we decided after we decided the night before we left that we were going to take hold baggage instead of taking just carry-on. We're going to just take carry-ons, and I could fit all my stuff into a carry-on. My boyfriend couldn't fit all of his stuff into his carry-on, mostly because he didn't have a carry-on that was the right size, and they're really... In Europe, we can fly very cheaply, which is amazing. Well, it's not amazing, it's terrible for the environment. But it's fortunate that we can fly. It's good for the purse pocket if it's not very expensive to fly. And so, I mean, I was looking at the flights to Italy for the end of the month, and I can fly return to Pisa for less than £20, which is insane. It's cheaper than train travel, but the one way that obviously you try to make back some money is by adding a lot of everything else is extra. So the bags are always more expensive, and so the cabin bag allowance is really small. Like, it's a tiny cabin bag you can take. And so originally we planned to do that, and then we're like, why are we stressing about this? Let's just get a bag, and we did, and it was fine. Which meant I could bring yarn home, which I did do. But before we were going to do that, all of my knitting fit into this pouch. So this is my whole knitting for a week. And so what I had in here was this project with both skeins of yarn. So it's stuck. So this cami in 2 skeins. This project and the skein I'm working on. Both of these skeins. And a little pouch. And that all fit into this bag, which I was pretty impressed with. This is just a coin purse, which I was using as a notions pouch. I did have in here a little round metal tin of stitch markers, which I've since taken out. But I had in here a couple of extra cords. Again, I've taken the other one out. So I had one extra cord in this, and this is my Chowgu cord, which my camisole is on. And then one extra cord for the sweater project, which is a knit pro cord. I had some scrap yarn, just a little nugget of it. I had a little round tin of stitch markers. I can see actually, this isn't the same one I took, but it's the same size. Where is the other one actually? And I took in there the stitch markers it came with, and a little, maybe like 10 light bulb markers. A tapestry needle, and a measuring tape. This was a full-size measuring tape, and I melted it when I was sewing. I presume I must have melted it around about 18 inches because that's where I cut it, and I just kept the tail, or the start. This is so good for knitting because it goes up to 17.5 inches. When do you ever have to measure more than 17.5 inches in knitting? Very rarely. And it folds up so tiny, and you never have to like waste time rolling the whole thing back up again. So yeah, all that went into there, and then it all fit into this. So I was super impressed with myself for fitting all this in, if I'm honest. I just thought I was a knitting pro. And I would definitely, like, I took too much knitting, but I would definitely do this again next time, and I think it'll just work this out with us next time we go. Ta-da! I had absolutely no issues at anywhere flying with needles, and I took metal tips, with nothing cast on. So I definitely think I was playing with fire. I got stopped on the way out actually, for a drug search. I don't know if you, like, they do this thing where they rub that paper all over your bags and then they put it in the machine. And so they stopped me for this, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna take my knitting needles. Like, I've been so cocky about thinking I'll be fine. They're gonna stop me, and then they didn't stop me. So that was all good. So yeah, that's all my works in progress and finished objects, and I feel like I've blown through them, but also I've been here for 1 hour and 10 minutes, so clearly I've not gone that quickly. What do I have? I have a little bit of acquisitions, and I've got a couple of acquisitions and a couple of holiday acquisitions. Wow, okay, yeah, I have a lot of yarn. Let me start with what I got before, like, I'll go chronologically. Ish. Okay, so the first thing was sent to me. Hiccups again. So I got a message from Stephanie from Gullet Farms. I mentioned Gullet Farms before. They sent me some of their yarn, which I made the natural shawl in. And I found out about them because I bought a skein of yarn at Unravel Festival, which I completely fell in love with, and there were no more, like there was only one. And I was gutted, but I loved it so much that I was like, I have to take this with me. I can't not have this yarn, even if it's just one skein. This is it. It's this beautiful, like, warm toned blue green. It's called Forest Green. It's dyed by Telling Yarns, which is an indie dyer in the UK, and it's from Gullet Farm. And I got an email from Stephanie, and she was like, I'm popping something in the post to you. And I was like, okay. They found another skein of it. So they're clearing out what they had, and I think you can still get their previous skeins. Like, they had a few other colourways and they're for sale. But there was one skein left of the Forest Green, and they sent it to me, and I was so happy. I almost cried. I honestly was like, I couldn't believe it. So I'm now a very, very happy owner of these two skeins of yarn. This is 100% going to be a sweater, and I was a bit torn, and it's 800 metres, which is not like, I've made a no frill sweater with 900 metres, so I know I can do it. And so originally my plan was, I thought about making the love note, which I've not made, but I've heard great things about, but not putting the lace work in, just doing a love note plain. And I was watching the Grocery Girls, because who doesn't watch the Grocery Girls? And they both made them for, wasn't it City Montreal? I don't know. They both made love notes without the lace a while ago. But on both of them, the panel, like the yoke, where the lace was like almost see-through, and I feel like on some I've seen the increases are very obvious, and I'm just not a fan of it. Like, I just don't like the look of it. But then I thought, what about if I do the maths to make a raglan sweater at love note gauge? And then I was like, this is amazing, so I'm gonna do. And then it already exists. I can't remember what it's called, if I'm being honest. I'll put it on screen now. This is a pattern which Jodie, I believe, from the Grocery Girls has just finished. And it's a 15 stitch gauge, and you use DK weight, you use fingering and mohair, and it was in a Lina magazine. I can't remember what it's called. No, it's not Letho. I don't know. It's here on screen, and I'll put a picture of it as well. So that's going to be perfect. I found the mohair that I'm going to use for it, but I'm not ordering it until I'm ready to cast on. I'm going to use Filcolana Tilia, which again I love. There's a green, it's slightly more green than this. I guess the issue with mohair is that you're going to always edit, like mohair really impacts the final colour of the garment if you're holding it with something. I think that's okay. I really have nothing in this green colour, and I think it will be fine. I think the colour is Reseda. Again, I'll put a picture of that mohair here, and it's definitely showing on screen more blue than in real life. It's much more greeny in real life. So this will definitely be my next plain cast on. So once I get down to, probably when I get the camisole finished, and that, like, and the plain and the round is done, this will be what I'll cast on after that. I need to order some yarn for it, some mohair for it. So that was the first thing that arrived. And then I went on holiday. So I'll talk about I ordered this before holiday and it arrived when I got back. So, sorry, I should have taken this out. So, I just came up with this plan, and then Carissa, yes, of Tumeki Yarns released her Bridgerton collection. So I've ordered Tumeki before. I used her yarn for 3 Christmas gift hats, and I loved it. It was beautiful. I've been following her for a while on Instagram. I'm not a huge hand dyer purchaser, so like I don't order that much hand dyed yarn, but she started posting her colourways for her Bridgerton collection, and I thought they were amazing. They were so good. I'll put a picture here of the full collection. I'm actually not sure. She did a pre-order, and I'm not sure what the current state. Like, I know she started shipping some of the pre-orders. I've seen a few Bridgerton inspired colourways, and this collection was for me the bang on. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. So I just done this, this plan for this pattern. I thought I could order 2 skeins and do the same pattern. I've not made this pattern before. Why am I doing this when I've not made it yet? But anyway, I thought I'll order 2 skeins of one of the colours and I'll do the same thing again. And I was really on the fence about what colour to order. There was a beautiful like soft pink, the Daphne colourway, which is like a silvery pink, but I'm not really a pink person. And then I thought there was a lilac, and I thought maybe the lilac is the way to go. And then I asked my boyfriend and he told me to get this one. And actually this is the very first colourway she dyed up, and I think it was the right choice. So this is the Duke. And it's glorious. It is just so good. It's kind of like as a base, it's kind of like a purpley maroon, but it has like steely greys, and it's got like this sort of coppery, like goldy stripes and coppery bits. Yeah. So I think it looks amazing. And again, I think my plan with these will be to make a sweater and to hold it with that for this pattern. If I like this pattern. If I don't like this pattern, I'm screwed and I'm going to have to go and find some more of this yarn. The tricky thing with this will be understanding what mohair that I can, like I say, I'm not a huge, like I don't, I find variegated yarns quite hard to wear. So I think I'll have to, I don't want to mute the colour, but I want to make this more wearable by picking a colour that I think goes well with it. I don't think I want it to be too purpley. I'd rather it was more the brown than the purple. So we'll see. I've not even started looking for that mohair yet. I'll get to it. And then so I got a little card that came with my order, and Carissa, I was the very first person to order from the Bridgerton collection, which was no surprise because I was sitting waiting for it. Like I knew the day it was coming out, so I knew I was going to order. But because I was the very first person to order, she sent me a little skein of the Queen Charlotte colourway. This is amazing. This was one that was also in contention, and I will say, having seen it, like I think the brown is going to be something I'll wear more often, but like this is incredible. So this is this is the sock base. So this is, it's not actually, sorry, this is 100% superwash merino, and this is 100% superwash merino singles. They're not both, no, this one's 4-ply, this is just a 4-ply fingering, and this is the singles base. I've never used a single before. I think this will likely become a gift knit. I think I was watching Ruth of the Ruth Loves to Knit podcast, and she has made this mindfulness shawl or mindless shawl that she's made like 10 of, and it looks like a perfect one skein project. There's also I can't remember at all what it's called, but there's the one very famous single skein shawl project. It's called the Eyelets. I know what I'm talking about. And I thought that might be a perfect one. It has got, like it's the kind of base is this like rich, that's quite a good way of looking at it, is this kind of pink, but it's got purple, it's got like a pale colour, and then like around here there's like a peach. So yeah. So this was really exciting when it showed up. And it showed up and I was like, there are 3 skeins in there. I was like, I ordered 2, I can feel 3. So I was very excited opening it. So it pays to be first in the pre-order sometimes because you get very nice little extras. So a huge thank you to Carissa for the little extra skein. Yes, so I'm making such a mess here, and I'm gonna have to tidy this afterwards, and I don't want to. So in Greece we went to some yarn shops. I'll pull these out actually before I start because I don't want to sit with this crackling. Yeah, okay, so on our last full day in Athens, we didn't really have much planned, and one of the things I wanted to do was to do a bit of some yarn shop looking. There's not a huge, to what I could tell, there's not a huge knitting community in Greece. Crochet is more of a thing. I'll move that out the screen. Crochet is more of a thing, and there weren't a huge number of yarn shops, but for what there were, I mean there were like 5 in Athens. One of them seems more like a sort of indie LYS. That was the one I didn't get to. It was a little bit out of the city and it wasn't close to anywhere we're going, and we had plans to be somewhere else, like the complete opposite end of the city, so we just didn't have time to go there. In the centre, there are like 4 or 5 yarn shops quite close together, like across the street from each other. So you could do all of them within like, yeah, you could, they're all within like a 10-minute, not even that, like a 5-minute walking distance of each other. So the first one I went to, something to Kangaroo Craft, I think was what it was called. There were 2 branches of that I went to. There were the first and second yarn shops I went into. A lot of crochet, like a lot of cotton and crochet, a lot of like very thin crochet yarns. They had a lot of stuff to make bags, which I thought was very cool. So a lot of handles, straps to make crochet bags, which I thought was lovely. And some weaving stuff. And then also a lot of like weird acrylic in terms of like fluffy, feathery looking yarn, lots of bouclés, like, you know, like real novelty yarns, a lot of that. And then I stumbled across a yarn shop which I thought was closed, and I didn't realise that was the shop I was in until they gave me the receipt, and I was like, oh hey, you're this shop. They apparently are the oldest yarn shop in Greece. It's called Sakalak Wool. I'm making that up. I think so. I think that's right. Yeah, they're one of the oldest yarn. They've been around since like early 1900s. One of the oldest yarn shops in Athens, and they claim to be one of the oldest yarn shops in Europe. And they really pride themselves on natural yarn. I will say, coming from the UK or coming from Scotland, there was a lot of acrylic blend for my taste. But I can understand why, given the other yarn shops on the market, why they're considered to be natural focused, because everything still had some degree of natural fibre content, but there were quite a few like, I'd be like, oh, what is this? And then it'd be like 60% acrylic, and I was like, wait, what? So I understand the context as to why it's that way. They hosted they had a lot of Lang yarn. Any other big brands? I don't think so. They were lovely. They were so helpful. They were really great. There were some yarns in there that I think have been in there since the early 1900s. Like, some of them were very old and a little bit dusty, and I thought this yarn's older than I am, I think. But it was a really interesting selection. They had a lot of things I'd never seen before, and I in the end narrowed it down to a linen yarn and the yarn I bought, and I bought the yarn. I bought this one. This yarn is discontinued, but I'll show it anyway. So this is what I bought. I bought 4 of these. It is 100% mercenarized. Is that how you pronounce this? No, it's mercerized. There's no N. Yeah, of course it's in German. It's combed, mercerized. Is that right? Combed, mercerized, and gas cotton, which sounds not good at all. I kind of get the impression that this is similar to the equivalent of superwashing wool. It takes the dye better, it becomes stronger, it's less prone to stretch out, and it's less prone to mildew. So similar, I guess. Oh, and it gives it this like lustrous look, like this like shiny look, comes from the mercerization. Am I talking nonsense? Probably. So I got it this beautiful, like it's coming up a bit more pinkish. It's definitely more of a rose gold. And I thought it was beautiful. It is from a company called, I think the yarn is called Linda, from a company which was called Stavol. Stahlwolle, it's German. They've now been bought out and the yarn has been discontinued. So who knows how long it was in the shop. I've got, so it's 170 meters per 50 grams, which is like a, what is that? A sport maybe? It looks to me like a fingering weight, like it's pretty thin. It is really quite a thin yarn. And I bought 4 of these, which I think is 680 meters. So I think this is likely to be my camisole. I think if I finish the cami I've got, this could be the next one to get cast on, because I think it would be really, really beautiful. Very summery, a really nice colour. And yeah, that is the first one. It's like wrapped around this like wooden cardboard thing, which means it's really solid. So I think if I take this abroad on holiday, I'll take the cardboard out so I can fit more of it in, and rewind these up into smaller balls. So that was number one. The second yarn shop I went to is called Hobby Lobby. I'm aware that Hobby Lobby is like a big box craft shop, like I think the Hobby Crafts equivalent in the US. This is Greek Hobby Lobby. Their website is called hobbylobby.gr, and they just had loads of cotton and loads of acrylic blends. It was this really like bright, like I felt like I had a boutique, and all the yarns were behind the counter, which to me defies the purpose of a yarn shop. Like I want to go in and squish them all. Why are they all behind the counter? So I had to like ask her like, oh, what is the content of this? What is the content of this? And then she'd pass it down. I could squish it a little bit. They were very friendly and they were lovely. And the woman was telling me all about her friends that live in the UK. Like they were super friendly. But it was quite a different experience to what I'm used to. And there I got more cotton. Oh, that's showing up really well. So this is also 100% gas and mercerized cotton from Hobby Lobby, and this is called Artemis. Honestly, it just felt like I had to buy a Greek yarn. Like I was in Greece, I had to get a Greek yarn. And this is 150 meters per 50 grams, and I've got 5 balls of this. So I think it's about 720 meters, I think. So I think I could do a t-shirt in this. I posted about these 2 yarns on Instagram, and my mum messaged me. She said, that's a really nice blue. And I was like, is it? So I think there's a possibility this will become something for my mum. She does wear this colour a lot, like it's really in her wheelhouse. It's a real royal blue, and I think she'll suit it. Funny story about this though, is there was not enough of this on the shelf, so she went to get me some more, and she came back with some more, which is perfect. However, this is differently labelled. This is labelled as the Athena base, which is 60% cotton, 40% viscose. And I almost bought Athena and didn't buy the Athena in the end. And I panicked and I was like, oh my god, they've given me the wrong yarn. No, they didn't. It's the same thing. It's 100% the same thing. The viscose blend that they had was real shiny, like very, very shiny. And this is not that. So it's just wrongly labelled. So it looks like I have some Athena and some Artemis, but actually it's just 5 balls of Artemis. So yeah, that's, again, no plans to cast on anytime soon, but I think it'll be for my mum. And I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled for a pattern I like. I think she will wear... There are a lot of knitted t-shirts that I don't think I would wear, but I think she would really wear. So I'm going to try and find one of those. Oh. So yeah, and then the last thing is not very exciting. I ordered some yarn from Wool Warehouse. I ordered this is a bag of mohair. I ordered some purple yarn because I bought yarn from Host. Oh, actually, I have a Host order, but it's not here. It's at my parents' house. It arrived when we were in Greece, and I knew it would arrive when we were in Greece, so I had it delivered to my parents' house. So I need to pick it up this weekend. I bought 3 cones, which I do not need. I bought them in the colour Oxford, Venetian, and Tobacco. That's all I have to say for myself about that. They were on sale, like heavily discounted. They were like £14 a cone. I don't need more cones of yarn. Anyway, I got some Holst Yarn Super Soft, more Holst Super Soft. I bought the yarn to make the Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Maid, and I have gone off that pattern. I just don't think it fits very well. I keep seeing finished objects, and when it's finished and like flat, I'm like, oh, it's beautiful, and then I see it on somebody and there's no neck shaping, and I just think it's really obvious, and it's put me off it completely. But I have now a lot of Whole Super Soft that I've not used, and so I bought some mohair, and I thought I would make a really cute, simple, I think I would hold the whole stubble and hold a strand of mohair and make like a very, I don't know, plain, probably drop shoulder jumper. I'm thinking cardigan, sweater number 11 by My Favourite Things Knitwear without the funnel neck and just a short neck. So this is Drops Air in the colourway Lavender, and I've got plenty of this, enough to make, I got 6 skeins, so enough to make whatever pattern. The reason I ordered that is because I was ordering this, which is Rowan Kidsilk Haze. It is a really expensive mohair, but there are a couple of colours which are discontinued, of which this is one, but I'm sad because it's not the colour I wanted it to be. This colour is called Romance, and it's a really, really rich red on the website, but it's a bit more like washed out. It's not showing up very well. Like, I really want, it was to go with a Venetian Holst, which is a really rich, deep red, and then this was going to go with it. It's not quite it. So, I don't know what to do, because I really want to use Tilia or Drops, because I like them the most, but neither of them have got a really good red colour. And I do have yarn that this will go with, so this will not go to waste by any means. Like, this will definitely still get used. But I'm just a bit annoyed at myself that I can't find the colour that I want to match this yarn with, because I want to use that yarn for this new pattern design in my head, but I don't have the mohair to go with it. So maybe I'll have to give up on the idea of it being red, and maybe I'll cast it on in a different colour. I really want a red one. So we'll see. We'll see. I've got loads of yarn. My plan is, excluding when I buy yarn to go with it, actually probably including that, what I'd really like to do for the rest of the year is every second, I've got a proper whole bit of mohair on my, yeah, a bit of red mohair. For the rest of the year, I would like to alternate casting on from stash and with new yarn. Because I've got so much right now. I've probably got 15 sweater quantities, and I don't need 15 sweater quantities. And when we're away, we're talking a lot about future plans and moving, and I'm thinking I've got so much yarn to get through. And so yeah, I don't want to say I'm not going to buy any more yarn, because we know that doesn't go well. But what I think I'd like to do is just try to say, like, every second cast on has to be something from stash. Because that way I've got loads of stash yarn, and I've got plans for all of it, and I just keep getting distracted by shiny new things, and I need to make a bit of a dent on my stash. So that is my plan. So yeah, that's everything. An hour and a half. That's been, yeah, it's been a little while. What time is it? Oh, perfect. Almost lunchtime. A little wrap up of our holiday. We spent 7 days in Greece. We spent 5 days in Athens and 2 days on Hydra, which is an island that you can get to from Athens in a couple of hours. I think in retrospect, it would have been nice to have more island time and less city time. Athens is a very noisy, hectic, busy city, which is lovely for a couple of days, but I think we both needed some more relaxation, and Hydra, by comparison, was bliss. It is a very small island where there are no cars, so everyone, yeah, they've got donkeys. They've got over 1,000 donkeys on the island, apparently. Although I'm realising my boyfriend told me that, and maybe he was joking with me, like maybe it wasn't 1,000, maybe he lied to me. That's probably quite likely. I don't think it's 1,000. I don't know. They've got a lot of donkeys. He likes to make things up and tell me they're true, and I believe him, and then I find out later that they're just complete nonsense, and I've told 10 people. There are lots of donkeys, and yeah, it was stunning. We got off the ferry and I almost cried. I was like, it looked like the complete stereotype of what you think a Greek island can be, but you could never imagine it to be that beautiful. It was that beautiful. It was stunning. I was blown away. So yeah, we spent 2 nights there. We went to this beautiful restaurant. Yeah, it was glorious. The ferry there was lovely. The ferry back was lovely. And then in Athens, we did all the usual. We went to the Acropolis. We went to all the museums. Onto the historical sites. We went to a rooftop bar to see the sunset. We just had a really good time. I came back feeling more tired than when I left. It's my first time abroad in 2 years. The last time I was abroad was the March of 2020. So I went to Colombia for work. So I landed in Bogota, and as I landed and switched my phone on, the WHO had declared a global pandemic for COVID, and before that it had just been an epidemic, and that news broke as I landed, and 4 days later I was on a flight home, and that was the last time I was abroad. So it was definitely a bit nerve-wracking. I'm a very anxious flyer. I don't know why, it's gotten so much worse over the years, and I do fly, well, I haven't for a while, but I used to fly a lot for work, like 2 or 3 trips a month. But I was real nervous. I was not having a good time. the takeoff was like, every time we took off I was like panicking. I know it's so silly, like I understand, I've done a lot of research, I know how planes work, all in this attempt to calm myself down when I fly, and it doesn't work. So yeah, so that was less enjoyable, but the holiday itself was amazing, and I'm very glad we've got some more time off booked at the end of the month. Other than that, it's all pretty quiet around here. We've got some friends coming next weekend. I'm so excited to see them. That'll just be really lovely. And then we're off to Italy at the end of the month. So I'm pretty sure, what is it today? The 13th. I think it should go up today. Yeah. I think we'll have one more filmed while we're away. And then I think it'll be 3 weeks again. Sorry, one more film before I go away, podcast filmed, and then it'll probably be 3 weeks again after that, because I'm just jet setting around Europe. I live my best holiday life. Anyway, that's all for me. I hope you've been doing well. I hope I was not too, I don't know, crazy or all over the place, because it's been a few weeks. I hope it was all coherent. I've got lots on the go. Hopefully, those hiccups again. Hopefully I can get through some of my whips and I'll have some shiny new cast-ons for next episode. Thanks for spending some time with me, and I hope you have some fun knitting in the next couple of weeks. Bye!